Good afternoon, CAFS crew. I hope you're really well and having a most fabulous day today. Today we're going to talk about what you can do to differentiate your classroom and why we need to keep doing this. Now, I know that many of you guys are at different stages of your journey, and some of you have probably just started teaching CAFS or possibly in your first 5 or 6 years, and there's a lot of us who have been teaching for quite some time now. No matter where you are on your CAFS journey, we need to really be differentiating what we're doing in the CAFS classroom. I think, at university, many of us are taught that we should be tailoring what we're doing to suit our learners, to suit the students in front of us. And I think as time goes by, we tend to really rely on doing the same old thing, or possibly even just reverting to teaching every single student in your classroom exactly the same way. And look, I am completely guilty of that. I'll put my hand right up and say, yes, I think there were many times where I stood out the front, I was working with my students, and I was teaching them the same content, yes, but I was also teaching them the same way and not giving them choice or not working out where they were. What we need to be really doing as educators is working out where our students are, where we want them to be, and how we can actually help them get there. And look, the biggest driver of that for me, after probably 12 or so years of doing it, is through formative assessment. And many of you guys love formative assessment. Some of us love to hate it. We hate that word. But look, to me, formative assessment is the best way that we can actually use what we've got in front of us, where our students are, what they need to be doing, and how we actually get them to get there in the end. So working out where our students are at this point in time, what we need to do maybe to tweak what we're doing to get them to get to a point that we want them to be at. The other thing is through actual differentiation in our classroom teaching, but also teaching our students based on their ability, their skills, and their individual needs. Now, many of us also have, students that are very diverse in our classrooms. We might have students on a number of different individual education plans. We might also have, different needs of our students. We might have some Aboriginal students in our class. We might have some students who, might have some sort of communication, concerns happening, or possibly even students who are, come from lots of different backgrounds. They might have some trauma happening. We have these beautiful, wonderful, complex people sitting in front of us, and it's really important for us to actually change what we're teaching rather than just teaching to the middle. So, look, for me, a few key things we can be doing to really work out where our students are, what we need them to be doing, and how we can help them get there, like I said, is through formative assessment, is working with their individual education plan and working out where they are, and their needs and what their interests are, what their strengths are and what their challenges are as a student, but also some of those intricacies and those personal things that we can kind of start to embed in our classroom. The other thing is through, if we have some students who have some special needs, is through using the actual life skills program. Now, many of you guys have probably had 1 or 2 life skills students in your mainstream CAFS class at some point, in the past. I know for me, we had probably about 4 or 5 in my 14 years of teaching CAFS. And look, the life skills syllabus didn't come out until 2013. A few kind of, there was a bit of an evolution to it, we had lots of reviews around syllabuses and HSC in New South Wales. And as a result of that, NESA realised that there were gaps, missing in our curriculum, and really supporting our students of lots of diverse needs really had to have some sort of place through a different program. So we had lots of other life skills programs happening. Before that, many of our life skills students, we kind of aligned a lot of our PE outcomes to the life skills students in our CAFS course. We said, okay, this is a life skills CAFS program. This is how it suits our individual needs for these life skills kids in CAFS. But there was no actual syllabus until 2013. So look, it is still relatively new, and I know there's has been no support out there for our students for you guys, but also then through our students around life skills in CAFS. So let's really unpack formative assessment straight away. So for me, formative assessment is working out what we need to do as a teacher to tweak what we're doing to help our students move forward, but also what the kids can do, with feedback, with becoming masters of, asking questions, of working together. There are lots of different stages to formative assessment. And at the end of this term and into next term, we're going to have a really big focus on that. I am going to have a really big focus on that in what I share with you guys. So working out where our students are, where we need them to be, can be through simple observation, through questioning, through possibly even some things like a Google form, sending out a Google form about content, or even about how kids learn, or what our kids' strengths and challenges are, can be a great way to get an insight into how they're going. So we can kind of use those formative tasks or formative tools to help find out where our kids are. And look, I know many of you guys have probably, heard it a lot, but simple things like exit slips or pre-learning, learning logs are also great ways that we can start to embed into our classroom to work out where our kids are and what we need to do to help them move forward. So we can use lots of different physical tools to do that. So Post-it notes are my best friend. Obviously, as a teacher, we always love to have lots of Post-its around, lots of stationery, but look, Post-it notes are great for, getting the kids to write down an answer to a question. Or you might say to them, okay, on your Post-it note, write, the first idea that comes to mind. Or let's brain dump. Let's do a brain dump of everything we know about this. And they have this really great pile of questions in front of them or answers in front of them. So we can use Post-it notes in lots of different ways. The other great formative assessment tool for me was mini whiteboards. I love a mini whiteboard. I first of all had them as a laminating sheet to save money. I then invested in a little bit of money and bought my own class set. And then when I was the relieving head teacher PE, I actually asked for a set for each of our classes. That was part of our budget, to have each classroom have a class set of mini whiteboards. And then when I also was doing some instructional leadership at that same school, we then actually rolled that across the school. We had each faculty at least had a couple of sets of mini whiteboards. And look, they're so great because we can kind of quickly get the kids to write down their ideas. They can quickly show us what they know. You could do multiple choice. You could do, some dot points. You could do some visuals, like show me your visual representation of the difference between a community organisation and a government agency. Or what's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about adoption? They quickly write it down. Here's a series of multiple choice questions, A, B, C, or D. You're going to put your answer on the actual whiteboard. So many different uses, so versatile. The kids can rub it off. It's not permanent. They can kind of go, okay, I kind of wasn't on the right track. It then gets wiped off. It's not permanent. It doesn't stay forever. So look, like I said, the whiteboards are fantastic. Post-it notes, also using your visual classroom, your actual physical classroom is great too. I love me a bit of a glass chalk. If you can get some glass chalk, some markers for the glass, even doing things like gallery walks with butcher's paper, old school butcher's paper is great. So we have so many things at our disposal. Also, the kids physically doing things in and around our classroom is great. Four corners, agree, disagree, agree, disagree, strongly agree, strongly disagree, and the kids then sharing that. These are all ways that we can kind of work out where the kids are, what we need to do to actually help them improve, and how we're going to get them there in the end. So look, through formative assessment, we can really differentiate our classroom. But I think also through working out where our students are personally, their strengths and challenges, but also some of their needs. So if you have a student who may have, some sort of communication disorder, or they might be, on, the autism spectrum, maybe that's a way we kind of go, okay, I can't have a, really loud classroom. I need to change and tweak some of my teaching and learning to help cater for our students. And working out what we can do, some small little things that we can do to make them either super comfortable or confident in our classroom, but also working out that they're all very, very different. Teaching CAFS is very diverse anyway with the students that we draw from, but I think having so many different needs in our classroom is really very difficult, to cater for all those sorts of students. And what I like to do to help that is to actually have my kids working in cooperative learning groups. If you follow me for a little while, you'll know what that looks like, but getting the kids to work in mixed ability groups, basically to share the load, help each other, but also to work together and, for the kids to actually learn off each other. Another, great connection to formative assessment. Essentially what you would have, doesn't matter what your classroom looks like. And let me tell you, I've worked in some pretty crazy classrooms. I had one year, literally it was like a bus. And I used to say to the kids, this is like our bus. So we actually called it the CAFS bus in the end. The kids decorated the front of the classroom. It was an old, I think, music, maybe an old music tutorial room, private lesson room. And we created the front of the classroom like a bus, because it was literally, we had the kids in 2 rows. We had 2s on that side, 2s on that side. I was at the front. We had 2 doors. So it was kind of like a bus, the back exit, the entry. So we kind of had a big bus on the front of the classroom. And then inside, we usually kind of say it was a bus. But we worked in cooperative learning groups like that because we then put all of our tables together, and the kids then worked in chunks. So that floor there, you guys are one group. That floor there, you guys are in the next group. That floor there, you guys are in the next group. The other classroom I worked in was a storeroom, as you do. And I had my kids kind of just quickly turn their chairs around. Okay, you guys are one group here. You guys are a 4 here. You guys are a 4 here. I've had round tables before in classrooms where the kids just go 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys are one group. I've had the teardrop kind of, how the teardrop ones come together like a little puzzle. I had that at Nagel in my last couple of years of teaching there. We had our groups like that. Previous school, prior to starting the Learning Network, we had groups of 4, 4 square desks. So the kids had one person here, one person here, and then the other 2 people faced each other. So those 2 people were shoulder partners, those others were shoulder partners. Look, it doesn't matter what your classroom looks like, getting the kids to work together in a cooperative learning group is fantastic. Having probably a high student, so kids are tracking at band 5 or 6, kids who may be tracking at 3 to 4, maybe lower ability kids, possibly you might have, really low within that group as well. It just depends. But look, the way cooperative learning groups are set up is that the kids are never really working with the lowest of the low, working with the highest of the high. We want them to be able to kind of come together to actually work together and feed off each other. Look, cooperative learning is amazing. If you ever get the time to do some research on Kagan cooperative learning, Kagan are an American couple who have brought out resources, little cards, PL, lectures, lots of things. There's heaps of stuff if you want to have a bit of research and have a look. The other thing is through our life skills CAFS course, which is again a whole different course to community and family studies. And I know I've said this before, I was guilty of teaching my kids from the CAFS syllabus, the mainstream syllabus, for want of a better word. And I had my life skills kids doing that syllabus. I actually had an assessment task for them. And I didn't really realise until, I started to delve into some professional learning, obviously, around syllabus, stuff that we shouldn't be assessing our kids from the life skills course. We have a whole separate life skills course that guides the kids. And look, I know there are many schools across New South Wales who are still teaching life skills students from the mainstream CAFS course. Guys, there's a whole different syllabus that we need to be teaching our students. And I think the more we get to know the syllabus, the more we work out that, yes, it does have connections to the mainstream course. Our life skills students typically would be sitting in our mainstream CAFS class. Very rare to have CAFS students in just a support unit or like a whole life skills CAFS class. Look, I don't know how many there are across the state, but probably very few. We don't have the resources to have a whole life skills class, but, many times we have life skills kids in our mainstream class and we're still teaching the content from the actual mainstream syllabus. So life skills, The life skills CAFS syllabus is very different to the mainstream syllabus. You would know if you've done it like this before. But the lack of resources out there, I think, is something that I've been listening and watching and observing from you guys, that you're like, okay, we need some help. So I had developed a whole package for you if you are in that position, to have all the resources and templates and activities, the booklets for your life skills students to feel really confident and comfortable to be sitting in your mainstream class, but they're actually learning from the life skills CAFS syllabus. So they can still engage in discussion and, maybe a debate or watching some sort of clip or a documentary that you might ordinarily be showing the kids in your class, but then they have adjusted work. The adjusted work is from the life skills CAFS syllabus. So there's a few of you guys who I know out there that you've been looking for something like this. So you can head over to the learnit.com/life skills CAFS, all one word, to check it out. Look, it is very comprehensive. I think there's 7 booklets in there, 1 module all around assessment, the syllabus, what you should be doing in terms of assessment, no assessments, no formal assessments in there, no formal tasks for the kids, and then just a bit of a scope and sequence, mapping outcomes. I've mapped it to the mainstream course because I know our kids are in there, but look, it's very comprehensive. And like I said, you can head over to my website, thelearnit.com/life skills CAFS to access that. It will save you so much time and your well-being in the process. So let me know if you have any questions at all about it. But I challenge you guys over the next couple of weeks to think about how you can actually differentiate your CAFS classroom to really suit the students who are sitting in front of you, to make your teaching and learning so much more powerful because it's suited and tailored to the kids' needs. Let me know if you need any help around adjustments or around possibly tweaking some things that are in the mainstream class for some students who might be at lower ability, they might struggle with their writing, that type of thing. Send me an email or send me a message about it. But in the meantime, have a fantastic Monday, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.